Today, we are diving into a force that is way more powerful than you probably realize, and it's a force you wield every single moment of every single day. We're talking about your mind. We're going to uncover how the invisible world of your thoughts literally builds the visible world of your reality.
So let me ask you this right from the start. Are you the actual architect of your life, consciously and carefully drawing up the blueprints? Or are you maybe just a resident, living in a house built from old habits, old fears, foundations you never even chose in the first place?
Here's the journey we're going to take together. First, we'll uncover that invisible blueprint that's been shaping your life. Then, we'll explore the two very different paths your mind can take in any given moment. From there, we'll dive into the hard science of literally rewiring your brain, tap into your body's own amazing inner pharmacy, and finally, we'll get you the tools you need to become the architect of your world.
Okay, let's start at the very foundation. For, centuries, deep thinkers have suggested this incredible idea that our lives are guided by an invisible blueprint, one that is drawn by the quality of our own recurring thoughts.
This was the absolute core belief of the New Thought movement back in the 19th century. They basically argued that whatever we consistently hold in our minds, our beliefs, our fears, our biggest hopes, it doesn't just stay locked up in our heads. No way. It gets carried forward, it manifests, and it becomes the tangible, real experience of our daily lives.
The writer James Allen gave us this beautiful metaphor for it. Think of your mind as a garden. You can be a conscious, intelligent gardener, carefully planting seeds of joy and purpose and strength, or you can just let it run wild and allow the weeds of fear and doubt to completely take over. The big insight here, the circumstances of your life, good or bad, are simply the harvest from the seeds you've been planting, whether you knew you were planting them or not.
Okay, so if thoughts are the blueprint, how does it actually work in the moment to moment? Well, it's not magic, it's mechanics. Let's look at that mechanism, how one single thought can set off this entire cascade of emotions and actions that shapes your immediate reality.
Imagine this classic scenario. You're walking alone in the woods. Suddenly, you hear a twig snap nearby. Now, the sound itself is totally neutral, right? It's just a vibration in the air. What happens next, your entire reality in that moment, depends completely on the story, on the thought you attach to that sound.
And this illustrates those two possible paths perfectly. The event, that sound, is identical in both scenarios, but your brain can interpret it in two vastly different ways, as a serious threat or as something totally harmless.
Let's break it down. On path 1, the thought, "it's a bear," instantly creates the emotion of fear. Your body floods with adrenaline, and your action is to run for your life. On path 2, the thought is, "oh, it's just a bunny." The emotion is calm, and the action is, you just keep walking. The external event was exactly the same, but by changing your thought, you changed your entire internal world, your physical state, and your behavior. You changed your reality. Now, this might sound simple, but you have to understand. For the longest time, we believed our brains and our thought patterns were basically fixed after childhood, that once those mental paths were carved, we were just stuck with them for life. But science has now proven that is completely and totally wrong. We are not stuck with the wiring we have.
The absolute game-changing discovery is called neuroplasticity. It's the brain's incredible ability to physically reorganize itself, to form new neural connections, in response to new experiences, new behaviors, and yes, new thoughts. This completely shifted our understanding from a fixed brain to a plastic one that we can actively shape and mold.
Think of it this way. The neural pathways in your brain are like trails in a forest. The thoughts you think most often are wide, clear, well-worn paths. It's super easy for your brain to follow them automatically. A negative thought pattern is like a deep, muddy rut. But here's the amazing part. You can always start clearing a new path. It's going to be tough at first, you'll have to push through some branches, but the more you walk it, the clearer it becomes until that is the new automatic path.
So how do we actually build these new paths? Well, research points to a few key things. First, repetition. You have to practice a new way of thinking over and over. Second, intensity. It needs to be a little challenging for your brain to pay attention. Third, specificity. If you want to be more grateful, you have to actually practice gratitude. And this last one is just fascinating. Hope. Your brain is literally more willing and able to change when you genuinely believe that change is possible.
And that power of belief, it isn't just some vague psychological idea. It has a profound, measurable, physical impact.
This connection between our mind and body is so powerful that our expectations can literally unlock our body's own internal pharmacy.
We've all heard of the placebo effect. It's a real, physical or psychological change that happens simply because a person expects a treatment to work. And let's be clear, this isn't a trick of the mind. It's a complex, biological process where your belief becomes an active ingredient in your own healing.
Get a load of this incredible statistic. In one study, when patients were given a very powerful painkiller and had a strong positive expectation about it, the drug was twice as effective at relieving their pain. Just think about that for a second. The same dose of medicine became doubly powerful, not because the drug's chemistry changed, but because the patient's brain chemistry did. Their belief literally doubled the medication's power.
So how on earth does this work? Well, the key is understanding that your body has its own built-in pharmacy. When you expect to feel better, your brain doesn't just think happy thoughts. It actually releases its own powerful pain-relieving chemicals, like endogenous opioids, which are basically your body's natural version of morphine. A positive thought isn't just some abstract thing. It can trigger a real chemical cascade that helps your body heal.
Okay, we've talked about the big ideas and we've dug into the science. Now let's get practical. Because understanding all this is one thing, but actually applying it is what matters. So, how do you become the conscious architect of your inner world? Here's your toolkit.
Before we open up that toolkit, just let this one idea really sink in. Your thoughts have real, tangible power. Every thought is an instruction. Every thought is a seed. And the very first step to becoming the architect is accepting this responsibility. You have to choose them wisely.
All right, tool number 1. This is a simple but incredibly powerful exercise. The moment you catch yourself spiraling into a negative or fearful thought, stop. Actually write that thought down on paper. Acknowledge it. Then, right next to it, consciously write down a more positive, more empowering replacement. When you do this every day, you are performing active neuroplasticity. You are literally practicing a new thought until it becomes the new, well-worn path.
And here's a second tool, bringing back that beautiful garden metaphor. Every morning, decide which plants you want to grow that day. Write down 3 qualities. Maybe it's confidence or gratitude or calm. Then, in the evening, just take 1 minute to reflect. Did I water those plants today? Or did I let the weeds of negativity and doubt take over? The goal here is simple, to become the conscious gardener of your own mind.
And as you start doing this work, I want you to remember this. Your visions, your dreams, the highest version of yourself that you can imagine, those aren't just fantasies. They are, as thinkers like James Allen believed, the creative force of the universe. They are the spiritual blueprints just waiting for you to build them into reality. So there you have it. The science is clear, the philosophy's ancient, and the tools are simple, and they are in your hands. Your mind is the most powerful creative technology you will ever own. So the only real question left is this. Now that you have the blueprint and the tools, what will you build?